What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Take It Apart channel. Guys, I have something very special for you. Today's one of those days when I had something that just pissed me off for the last time. And I'm talking about one of these Nintendo Switch controllers, infamous for having problems. Today we're going to open up, we're going to take a look inside and see what is going on. They're expensive to some degree, and they shouldn't be failing like this. So crazy. Let's get into it. All right, guys, here we go. So, Nintendo Switch controllers, they always drift. It's so annoying. I mean, I don't even play video games that much, guys. I hardly ever play video games. And my controllers just naturally go bad, kind of on their own. And that is really upsetting, you know? It's just one of those things we would expect that it's high use that causes a failure. Nah. Nope. It is just faulty components. And so what it is there are analog components that detect the direction and the speed of the movement of the thumbsticks. And because of that, they will sometimes think that you are slowly creeping in one direction or the other because it's analog. It just kind of does whatever. Versus if we were to use, let's say, something like a Hall effect sensor, which would be a digital input with an analog input, you know. So Hall effect sensors are definitely my favorite. However, any of these problems can be solved with something called a dead spot. And a dead spot, or a dead zone, is a certain region of stick movement. That would be this guy right here. You give it a certain circle worth of dead zone, and until it accesses outside of that dead zone, it doesn't really do anything. So all it takes is just a tiny, if you can see how much I'm moving it right there, a tiny movement like that is going to cause your character to like drift to the side and start walking around. Super annoying. Nintendo's obviously been in trouble for this for quite a while, and just is what it is. I mean, so I've already heard that the new Nintendo Switch 2 has got the same kind of analog drift. And there are some sort of upgrades that you can get for these. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and just use this tool, because this one right here is already broke, so I don't really care if I mess it up. I know there's some plastic latches up under here. There it is. Okay. So, lower clamshell. We've got some spring-loaded plastic right here. And it's for supporting the lower buttons. These two buttons right here that nobody ever really uses. That's bad. Interesting, some mold markings. They did some grinding away at the mold. You can see it. Nonetheless, it's okay quality. Let's take a look at the components on this bad boy. So we have some momentary buttons here and just some soldered in leads for the batteries. They're in a series configuration. So we got 3 volts power in this whole thing. And this whole window here should drop down, right? Two screws. Right here. Let's see if I can put some more light on the situation. So almost any time you pull out these fasteners that are screwed into the plastic, it almost always deteriorates the plastic for the stud that they're screwing into. So you can only pull your controller apart once or twice before it really loses a lot of that connection and the threading for these fasteners. All right, so you can see the support structures and everything for holding the buttons. And of course the buttons are all going to fall out. There you go. It's a shame. I'm going to save this grill because I can actually use this on one of my other controllers, which is functioning. It should hopefully work in the same spot. And if not, then hopefully the circuit board right here is good enough that I can just switch it over to another controller. We'll see. The whole concept is one of my kids wanted this particular controller. So this is the piece that I'm trying to preserve. And I was expecting some connectors for these upper buttons, but you can see right here, It's through hole soldered with these two ribbons right there. Let's see. Yeah, through hole soldered. Okay, I can see the antenna up at the head. So right up here is the communications module, and I might be wrong on this, but it's got to be some sort of Bluetooth, because it does kind of pair like a Bluetooth and everything. You know, you hit the shoulder buttons. So that's what I would assume, is it's some sort of proprietary version of Bluetooth. So I can see that there are some plastic latches right here. We can push that out, and we can push this one out. Okay, that is holding these two in. Okay, so I've got a Phillips here and a Phillips here. They're tiny. I didn't think they were going to hold the whole thing together like that, but there they are. Okay, up here we have some membrane buttons. You can see they're little contacts. Very low usage on these membranes. But down here are the higher usage membranes. And it's funny because they're made the exact same way. I hardly have ever used this controller. It's got maybe 10 to 20 hours on it. Maybe. And that's nothing, guys. Wow. Okay. That was that piece. So now this guy should pull off. You can see the through-hole cables, the ribbon cables. And let's see, there's the communications module. So we're just going to release these plastic latches. Wow. That is really being held in there. I'm not seeing anything else that's holding this in. Is that riser? Oh, it is those pins. They soldered it. Okay, so what we have here is a line of pins right here. And I thought that they were socketed so that there was going to be like pins on one board and a female socket on the other. But it looks to me like the wires are going straight through both circuit boards and they're soldered at both ends. It will not come apart. Okay, well, that's all right. Because these guys right here, these are the problem. And I don't really know how to get these apart. So these components right here, there are some potentiometers here and here for the X and the Y. And then there's a momentary button right here down at the end that detects the depress. And what's going on is any analog like resistive element is going to track a little bit. You know, it's going to, the voltage levels are going to float a little bit. And, you know, you've got a bunch of stuff going on inside here. The controllers are going to get dropped and whatnot. So if it doesn't have a dead zone, or the dead zone's too small, then what's going to happen is it's going to think that you are toggling a little bit like that. And one of these guys, if not both of them, are going to start tracking. Now, I've got this problem on multiple controllers. It's so annoying. This right here is going to be that wireless communications package. And it looks like we have over here some programming and test buttons or test pads. And right here is the little system on the chip, little blob. And so there's really not too much into these. If you got any of these momentary buttons that are broke, you can repair those. And if you have liquid damage inside your controller, then these little carbon pads right here, there are some ways of repairing those. And they used to have like repair kits for these. I don't know if they still have them, but they used to have repair kits for the pad itself, and right up here on the bottom of the silicone, it's got this little carbonized pad. So what happens is when you depress it, it's going to short out multiple sections. You can see I got 4 different sections of the pad right here. And it's going to short those out, and it's going to detect the button press. really kind of simple. There's not too much complex in these. And this right here is the problem. They did have some replacement parts that you can get that were Hall effects, and you take out some of these and you drop in Hall effects. I've done it to like some of my RC airplanes and whatnot, but unfortunately, I'm not going to do it to these controllers. I'm going to try and salvage this shell, move it over to another controller that is functioning. And this guy here, I might save for spare parts. You never know. Maybe one of these joysticks or something breaks. They work, they function. It's just the dead zone is way too small, and they're just floating around. So your character is walking around like doing its own thing. Super annoying. But anyway, guys, that's the inside of an official Nintendo controller for Nintendo Switch. Hope you like it. Thanks for watching, guys.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below with what you'd like to see in future videos.